it's just so
Wow.
much fun to like bring a new client into the CBA lab to sit down with them and transform their business in a big way. It is just the coolest thing to like take a concept that did not exist.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
However, which message do you have to entrepreneurs out there that they, exactly as you said, they close themselves in the room, they develop a product, they, especially in the tech space, then they remortgage the house, then they ask for all the friends and family money to develop that product that
Yeah.
will change the world, that will revolutionize the world, the product that they believe, yeah, that probably following the idea, the inspiration, the story of Steve Jobs and Apple, that kind of, that were the only ones I think that had done that and actually works. But, and after, when all the resources are gone, when you don't have no one else to ask for the money, and you decide to go out of your room and show the product to the world, uh, now is the problem because what you thought that is gonna be so good that the clients will come by themselves and buy it, and the market is gonna take it. This is nowhere close to reality. So I know that you're talking about, you know what you're talking about because you stretched that in your 5 steps, so you know. So tell us a little bit more. What message do you have for those entrepreneurs that they're still so stubborn and they think that it's the product, and if they have a good product, the rest is simple because the product is good, people will come and buy it.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So, I mean, there's so many different angles that I would take this, but for me personally, especially if you're a brand new entrepreneur, we think we have the story in the head of the product that's going to change everything for us. But the reality is sometimes the product that you launch shows a breadcrumb that gets you a step closer to the actual product. If you had told me when I was in business school that I'd be launching a box business, I would have said you're out of your mind. But the reality is there's no better vehicle to convey, my zone of genius and where we love to play with experience design than these boxes that we build out for our clients. These are two of my own products, but every
Ah,
tile
wow.
behind me represents a different experience
They are very cool.
that we've created for our client. So, I mean, the crazy part about this is where I started was virtual events. I was building a business in virtual events because someone told me it's a great way to generate leads and learn the digital and online game. And like running a virtual event, and I did it multiple times, it was awesome. But I quickly realized that I wasn't the best at it, and I didn't love it. There were so many nuances and pieces to it. But one of the things that we always did was when I would launch a virtual event, I would create a box that if people bought access to the virtual event, I can ship them out something tangible as a result and part of that order.
Absolutely.
And what was happening when I did that were people started doing unboxing videos. And if you have a digital only product, you can't unbox it, but a physical product, people were doing these videos that averaged 3 to 7 minutes long. And then people started asking me, how are you building these boxes? How are you doing this? And I would literally say, here's how to do it. But like, look at this virtual event business that I'm doing. We can help run a virtual event for you. And I kept on doing these virtual
And
events or
everybody
launching
asking for the
products.
boxes, yeah?
And everyone's asking for the boxes. You got it. And
Ah,
I wasn't paying attention. So this is a perfect example that my audience was like asking for the thing and I just wasn't listening. And so it took my mentor in the beginning of COVID, and you would say, at the beginning of COVID, what business would be super relevant having a virtual event business? And I had 3 years experience doing virtual events. And we had spent a year building out a product that we were like right there during COVID launching to market. It would have been the perfect time of year, but there was something that was preventing me from like going all in on virtual events. And I don't think my heart was in it. And it was my mentor who looked at me. And this is step one of how to generate your first million. He said, I went around asking people, who is Mark Stern? Half of them said you're the virtual event guy. The other half say you're the custom box guy. Which one are you? Because you're confusing the market. And I came from a world when I was in consulting that they celebrated you being good at everything. as an entrepreneur, you're not celebrating being good at
Absolutely. If you
everything.
confuse them, you lose them.
That's it. And so because I was doing that, I was 50% one and 50% another. When I killed the virtual event business I'd spent 3 years building to go all in on this custom box business, it started with just, I have a vision that I see, but no one else could see it. And, it's been a fun journey because it was partly just people asking, how are you doing this? And when I delved deeper into it, I could put 100% of my mental capacity to thinking through how to elevate that customer journey and experience and how Box can layer on top of it in a way that other people don't even know where to begin with this game. And for us, it's just opened up this beautiful opportunity that literally did go from 0 to $1 million via word of mouth the first year. And I didn't think that was possible, but
Wow.
it's possible for me. It's absolutely, and I am not like a big social media influencer. If you go on my Instagram, it's like 3 pictures, 2 of which are my dog as a puppy 7 years ago. So it's like, it's just how the word spread, and we just kept on getting more and more clients. And every time boxes would drop, people would say, where do they come from? And the business grew that way. But yeah, I mean, that to me was just like living and breathing this idea of, I didn't know that was going to be my business, except the breadcrumbs of the other things that I had done revealed it.
Yeah, let me tell you a story. There was one guy that he wanted a business, and he wants to build a gaming company. Yeah, and then he's trying to build this this game. Yeah, doing everything in the game. But then in the end, he ran out of money. He couldn't launch the game.
Yeah.
But it was a way that the crumbs. Yeah, they develop by developing the game. They have some tool that they develop to manage images and manage files and things like that, because to develop the game faster. So they developed that software. And guess what happened? The game never went to anywhere, but that piece of software that they developed to do the game better, they sold it for Yahoo for a lot of money. Yeah.
It's funny how that works. That's a great story.
And then the guy took all this money that make from Yahoo and said, you know what? Now with all this money, I'm going to build the game now. And he reunited everything, started to build the game again. Second time, the game, it was halfway and it was taking a lot of money. It's not going anywhere again. And the guys look at the investor and say, look, the game, we're going to need more money, and I don't think this is going to work. However, there is another tool here that we developed another thing that we developed to support the game, which is the communication channel that we have between developers, that this is something that, why we don't take the rest of the money and put into this and try to sell it to someone, because I don't think that we still get so much story. And that tool was a Slack. I don't know if you're aware of Slack. Slack is a collaboration tool. It's a billion.
Oh, we're avid users of Slack. We are power users of Slack.
So Slack is a Chrome of that guy that he never managed to do the game.
That's crazy.
In the first place, you know what I mean? So the point of the story is that, like Mark, we had to pay attention and be flexible, right? Sometimes we have to listen to the market and don't be egocentric. In my first business, the property business that I got, we were renting the houses and making the rooms better and renting the rooms again, right? And then I remember my first room, I opened the door and I showed the room, and then the first client come and said, look, this room, I'm not gonna take it. It's a little bit dirty. It needs a bit of painting, yeah. And then the client, as soon as he left, I went. I never painted a room in my life. I went and I painted the room the best I could. And then the other person come and said, one girl came and said, look, what do you think the room is clean now, right? I painted in white. And the girl said, yeah, but it's a bit cold. It needs something warm. It's very, very cold, very plain. So I went to IKEA and I bought this duvet that there are pink, red, and orange, put on top of the bed, a painting, and a vase of flower that cost me £1. And guess what happened? The third person that came to the room, the third girl, when I opened the room, I said, what do you think about the room? And the girl told me, I'll take it. You know,
Wow.
and so at the end of the day, exactly what you say, Mark. That I think for lack of experience, or maybe because we get excited about the product, or we get excited about the thing, we forget the key element, one of the key elements in business, which is listen to the market and listen to our client. Because I always said that the client will help us to polish, to refine
Yeah.
the. If you listen carefully, they will, and even they were telling you how you doing this box all the time. They were asking you about the box from day one, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So we
And
have this amazing online event. We're gonna do this. We're gonna hold the camera. We're gonna do Zing. We have this production, blah blah. And by the way, we're also sending you these boxes that to make the physical event connection. And then everybody was, "Wow, boxes are amazing." That's fantastic.
it's crazy how and I actually have my first box up there. And it's just amazing though that like we just did some crazy clever things and it was very sticky. And that was what was great because people would literally get these boxes and start selling our product for us.
But how hard it was actually, a business that you put 3 years, especially in the tech, developing a software, which is time, effort, money. How hard was to let it go and
Oh
say,
my goodness. It felt right. It sounds crazy, but I mean, I've talked to people that like were in corporate America and they may be job switchers, or they were in corporate America and left corporate America to become an entrepreneur. And they keep saying to me, I've heard a lot of peers say this. Oh, I'm pivoting, therefore I feel like I'm pushing the reset button. And they feel like with whatever they're doing, like people leaving corporate America and becoming an entrepreneur, I've heard people say, I'm pushing the reset button. And you're never, ever, ever pushing the reset button on what you do. And I like even leaving corporate America to become an entrepreneur, like one of my biggest lessons that I learned was this idea of, and this was a breakthrough for me. Um, Corporate versus entrepreneurship is like checkers versus chess. And I use that as an example because the game board is literally the same. Like it looks like the game board is the same between corporate and entrepreneurship. The reality is the rules are completely different. And so if you play like the world of entrepreneurship, and especially if you're at 0 to 1 million, if you approach it with a corporate lens,
oh my God,
you are going to fail. And I did. I failed on my face. And I was a high performer in corporate America, top rated strategy consultant. I was like, I got this game. No, I did not. It was a very humbling experience, but it wasn't until I realized, wait a second, am I playing chess with checker rules or checkers with chess rules? Mm-hmm. You're going to fail if you do it that way. And just the discipline to say, okay, let me pause and learn how to play a new game. And what is your competitive edge? It's the experiences you had beforehand. So all those years in corporate America were things that fueled what made me different as an entrepreneur. 100%. And like even with this whole idea of spending 3 years building out this virtual event business, it was hard to just say, but what I looked at it as was I had to make the investment and go on that journey to reveal the next piece. And the next piece, like Ryan Levesque used to have this comment of the name of the game is to stay in the game until you win the game. And I'm still playing the game and I'm having a blast at doing so. But like, had I continued down the virtual event route, that love and excitement would not be the same for where my heart's at. And so this is kind of where I'm grateful for the years that I spent building that business. And it felt completely right. And looking back, had I held on to it for the simple fact that I'd spent 3 years on it, it would have been a mistake. And that was just it. Because like my gut, I could feel it, that there's something with these boxes that is a huge opportunity that no one sees but me. And so now the hardest part about kind of creating your own category is you have to educate others to see, do they see what you see? Absolutely. But it is a game that I'm absolutely willing to play because, every time now that we've launched over about 150 different box campaigns that we've done with clients, it's just so much fun to like bring a new client into the CBA lab, to sit down with them and transform their business in a big way. It is just the coolest thing to like take a concept that did not exist and then walk away with truly some type of box experience that is designed to help people.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.